You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 215 for Sunday the 24th of June 2018.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my good friend Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Now, this week's show, we're talking deluxe dining. But before I introduce my guest, let's pop on over to find out what's happening this week in Disney history.
Howdy guys, how are you doing? It's me, Kieran, and welcome to this week in Disney history. On the 24th of June, 1893, Roy Oliver Disney was born in Chicago, Illinois. Roy was the older brother of Walt Disney, and renowned for being the man who held the purse strings in the Disney Company. Also on the 24th, but in 1994, the Electric Umbrella Counter-Service Eatery opened in the Epcot Park. Moving onwards to the 25th of June 1928, Universal Pictures released the 23rd Oswald the Lucky Rabbit film. This film, which is entitled The Fox Chase, tells the story of Oswald going on a fox chase. However, his horse is being quite stubborn. Whilst talking of openings, on the 25th in 1967, the Circle Vision 360 Theatre reopened in Tomorrowland at Disneyland. This was previously called Circle Vision, and the updated film America the Beautiful was shown. The final entry for this day was in 1985. The final car on the Walt Disney World monorail Silver caught fire. Quick-thinking staff enabled over 200 guests to be rescued safely, with only 7 guests being hospitalized. The rescue was enabled by using ladders and cherry pickers. 2 days onwards to the 27th of June, and in 1889, Maroney Olson was born. He voiced the role of the Magic Mirror in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Also, in 1952, the Goofy short, Teachers Are People, was released. Sounds like Goofy has a common issue with my mother. Last entry for this week's show goes to the 28th of June in 1988 and the grand opening of Disney's Grand Floridian Beach Resort, looking mighty fine at 30 years old.
Well, I'm here. I'm ready. My taste buds are tingling. I'm about to start salivating because I have got a fantastic guest ahead for everybody to listen to. It's the wonderful John Kretzu, and he's here to talk Disney Deluxe Dining. Hello there, John.
Hello, Michelle. It's so good to talk to you again.
Oh, we love our chats. I don't know if you recognise John's lovely voice from before. He's been on the show before to talk about all his wonderful dining experiences when he visited Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
That was quite a while ago.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. I've been twice now there, and I'm looking forward to going again, but I thought I'd take a little break. I finally went to Walt Disney World. I can't believe it. It took me 60 years.
It was a very special trip for you, I know, because you sort of splurged a little on the old accommodation and you paid for the dining plan. Just give us a brief outline of the resorts that you managed to enjoy.
Yes, I just decided I would really do it up since I'd never been. And I was celebrating my birthday month and celebrating my first trip and also celebrating being a 5-year cancer survivor. So there was a lot to celebrate.
Awesome reasons.
And, you know, one of the things about Disney, and especially Disney World, I found, was just the service and the attention that you get. It was incredible. People really went out of their way to celebrate all those things. And I have one or two stories that I'll share with you as we talk about this. It was very special. Also, traveling alone. I really wanted to go alone because I enjoy going by myself often just because I don't have to worry about what other people's schedules are like. It's really nice. kind of, do whatever you want, whenever you want. And with Disney World, I really wanted to do that. I didn't want to have to worry about someone else. And so traveling alone for me was so wonderful and special. They went out of their way. And I'm talking about every single server, every single concierge, everyone at the hotels. I really felt that I was the only person at Disney World, and all they wanted was to, make me have a good time and have a lovely experience. So that kind of individual treatment is very rare nowadays. You don't get it much. But with the amount of people that are there, it's truly incredible, I think.
I do, and I can't think of anybody more deserving with all those array of wonderful celebrations to have an amazing trip. Now, you went last December?
I did. I had heard so much that the first 2 weeks of December were the best time to go, and for every reason. And it was true. The weather was incredibly beautiful. It sprinkled one day, but rest of the time it was sunny. There weren't that many people there. There were a lot of toddlers, but because the kids aren't out of school yet, you didn't have a lot of older kids. So that was great. And I didn't have to wait for anything. And everything worked. The Fast Pass Plus thing went so easily. It's such a dream. Mickey bands. Oh my God, they're the best thing in the world. I'm so sorry the other parks don't have them, because that's incredible. And it was just a lovely time to be there. And the Christmas decorations, I mean, my God, Walt Disney World knows how to do Christmas. Let me tell you, it's magical. It's so beautiful. Split up the trip. I stayed, the first part of it, I think, was 5 days at the Boardwalk Resort, which I just fell in love with. Going back there again this December. It's just a beautiful, peaceful, kind of out of the way resort in a really special little area of the park. And then spent 6 days at Wilderness Lodge. In between, I spent 3 days at Universal, and that's not to be spoken of because I really hate it. So I will just say that was not for me. Not my idea of a good time. Going that experience in between the two Disney World was really remarkable because you could really see so many differences. But that's another discussion. Wilderness Lodge is sort of the ultimate version of the California Lodge in Disneyland, except it makes it look, I'm sorry to say, very dinky because it is so incredible. Oh my gosh, the whole grounds, everything about it. What other hotel has a running stream and geyser that goes into the lobby? Come on, it's great.
It's beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
Fantastic. So let's get on to the meat of our discussion, as it were. We're going to talk about deluxe dining. We're going to talk about how you spent your dining credits. And looking at the list, it is most people's wish list of places to go and eat at. And I'll be very interested to hear your viewpoints on some of these places, because I've eaten at most of them, not all yet, so we'll come to that. But I thought the best way to start is brunch. And you had brunch at California Grill.
Yes. But if I'm forced to, I have to say California Grill really, well, it stands up to all of the hype. And sometimes when you go to a restaurant like that, it's had years and years of people saying it's the best restaurant and it's the greatest and all that, you are a little wary, or you think it's not going to live up to it. Mm-hmm. Well, California Grill lives up to it. I still don't understand why it's called California Grill. It doesn't have anything to me to do with California, but okay, we won't worry about that. It is such a beautiful and also not huge restaurant, which I kind of love about it. It feels so exclusive. Mm-hmm. Everything about it, from checking in downstairs at the lovely contemporary hotel lobby and taking the private elevator up, then the expansive view, which is unbelievable. That view is just incredible. At night, it's gorgeous because I had dinner and brunch there. At brunch, it's just so, on a sunny day, it's remarkable. You just have the whole Magic Kingdom laid out in front of you, plus a really nice view of the Grand Floridian and the lake and all that. And most of the tables are either at the window or just off the window, so you really all have views. And it's not like you don't feel crowded in that restaurant at all. At brunch is amazing. Now, regular price of brunch is $80, which is among the most expensive brunches I can think of. I mean, that's just really silly. But with your credit, it's 2 credits. And just the general thing about the dining plan is, if you're not into food and if you're not into the deluxe restaurants, I don't think it's a really great deal for you. I don't think you'll appreciate it or get the right use out of it.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you are into those things, then it's wonderful. I mean, and if you really use a lot of those 2-credit restaurants, because they do add up, then you are getting a great deal because they're very expensive. And with the credits, it's not quite as bad. I think you are making a little bit of a profit, not much, but it's worth it. Brunch is just extraordinary. This is something that you want to do when you have a whole afternoon. You don't want to rush this brunch. And there's wonderful music. There's this great jazz trio playing all these great jazz versions of Disney songs and stuff from the 30s and 40s. It's really nice. Great atmosphere. And the service is impeccable as always. The brunch there is in 2 parts. And it starts with endless mimosas, and they're very good. The champagne is quite good, and the orange juice is great. They also have this great non-alcoholic sparkler that's with sparkling grape juice and a fruit kebab in it, and I just kind of loved that. So I had plenty of those. And then it's unlimited, of course, French press coffee or teas or all of that. And the first part is a buffet. It starts with oh my gosh, just an array of meats and charcuterie and cheeses and fruit and sushi, the famous California grill sushi, as much of that as you want to eat. Beautifully composed salads, and not too many so that it's not overwhelming. You feel like you can actually taste everything. Beautiful smoked salmon, bagels, muffins of every kind, gorgeous Greek yogurt fruit parfaits. It's just a beautiful arrangement of food. And it's fun to just take your time and enjoy all of that. And then the waitress comes and brings you a menu for the stuff you order.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous. And not only is it a list of these gorgeous entrees, I mean, all sorts of really interesting things. Fried chicken and waffles and buttermilk, interesting stuffed waffles and pancakes and then eggs Benedict, of course, and steak and eggs. The incredible thing. Now, I don't know how anyone does this, but if you are that person from, Monty Python that insists on eating the whole menu, you actually can order all of these entrees if you want to.
Hang on a minute. I've got the menu in front of me. And on the menu, there are 10 entree selections.
Uh-huh.
And you can order all 10.
You can order, but who in their right mind would do this? I said, I can't do this. And she said, well, don't worry about it because it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for it to come out and you'll be hungry again by then. So I got the eggs Benedict. I felt in a classic mood. It was such good eggs Benedict. The meat was so perfect. The toast underneath was great. And the egg was cooked perfectly with kind of drop dead hollandaise. I took a close-up picture of it. That is the essence of food pornography. So...
And that's served with either lobster or salmon as well.
Is the kind of egg Benedict you want to be alone with. Oh, God, it was so good. Yes, I had one of each, by the way. I did it because you can do that. As if that wasn't enough, they bring you a lovely dessert plate of all these beautiful desserts. They're just a wonderful assortment. There's this incredible dark chocolate bark full of different nuts and dried fruits. And there's a little macaron, and there's a raspberry cream cake, and oh God, what else? There was a muffin. It was beautiful. And she laid it down, put it on the table. I said, oh, no, come on, you got to be kidding. And she said, don't worry, I've already got the box. Everyone takes it home.
Oh.
And what was wonderful was that I did take it home, and there were all pastries that you don't have to refrigerate and that will last. And so I literally ate from it for the next 2 days. It was wonderful. And it was a wonderful way to snack. So yes, it's really expensive. If I wasn't doing the dining plan, I would certainly think about the $80 charge, plus tax and tip, of course. If you're with someone special, if you're with yourself, and that's certainly someone special and you want to treat yourself, if you're wanting to celebrate something wonderful, it is worth the splurge. It really is. It's a beautiful brunch. And they don't serve brunch many places in Disney World either. So it's a very special thing. You really have to get your reservation in. Although I have to admit, now that I say that, I actually got my brunch reservation while I was there. Someone kept,
wow.
And I just diligently kept trying. And I did get in.
How long did you roughly spend there to feast?
I spent at least 2 maybe 2.5 hours.
Wow.
I did not rush. I mean, when I sat down, she said, you have this table for the day. This is your table. So you can take as much time as you like. We don't like you to rush. Again, it's one of those special things. And I had a table right at the window with this stunning view of the castle and Space Mountain and, the whole thing. And it was a blue sky dotted with clouds. And it was an unforgettable Sunday morning, I got to tell you. It was my last day there, too, of the trip.
Oh.
So perfect way to celebrate. I can't leave California Grill with also saying that dinner there was one of the most exquisite meals I've had in a long time. It was just beautiful. And the great thing about the fireworks there, if you time it, if you get a reservation for fireworks time, that's great. But if you don't, and I didn't, I actually got one earlier in the evening, you just come back at fireworks time and show your receipt, and you can go out to this beautiful patio that they have that's right outside the restaurant, and you have this unobstructed view. They pipe in the music, and there's only usually, when I was there was about 15 other people, and you have like a private showing of the fireworks. California Grill is magical. I know you've had wonderful experiences there too, and I'm sure many of your listeners have too.
You can't knock the food. The food is divine. The problem I had was the other guests.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
They were kind of raucous, or?
It was a little bit like a kiddie crash.
Oh, no. Oh, what a shame. Oh, gosh, I didn't have that problem.
But I am going back this August because I did enjoy my beautifully cooked steak. And we've got reservations on one of the nights that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party is taking place in the Magic Kingdom. So we'll get to see the Halloween fireworks.
Oh, that'll be great. Well, and hopefully it'll be a little less insane.
Hope so. Hope so.
Yeah.
Well, let's move from one of the hotel restaurants and let's go to a theme park restaurant, because looking down your list, you've only really got 3 that are in theme parks. So let's hop over to the Hollywood Brown Derby over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Tell us all.
Oh, well, that I can do quickly. It's a charming restaurant. I remember eating at the original Brown Derby in Hollywood as a kid. My parents took me there a few times, and it was wonderful. And so it's very nostalgic if you've done that. This is an almost exact replica. It does look just like it from the outside, and the inside is almost exactly as I remember it. And the food was very good. I wouldn't say it's on the level of California Grill, but it's awfully good. Mm-hmm. And they have all the classic things, the Cobb salad and the grapefruit cake, and a very, very good steak there too. I'll tell you, the one thing I didn't like about Hollywood Brown Derby was they have this guy who is an entertainer, and he goes from table to table and does his spiel. And, I'm sure that the kids really enjoyed it, and I'm sure some of the birthday parties and stuff loved it. It was not my idea of a good time. And what was nice is they kind of sensed that I didn't want to participate. So he just kind of said hi and moved on. He knew I wasn't going to be a good audience. It didn't really go with the room for me, because the room is very, classy and quiet and nice. Anyway, nice place. If you're in Hollywood Studios, it's probably, the most upscale restaurant there. It's, again, 2 credits. Yes, it's worth 2 credits. It's not on my list of places I need to return next time. But if you want that kind of experience, and Hollywood Studios right now, I got to say there's not much going on because there's all that construction. Once Toy Story Land is open in the summer, that will change somewhat.
Yeah, I've booked to dine there in August, but it's part of the Dine with the Disney Imagineer package.
Oh, well, that's really fun, I'm sure. I can tell you, though, my favorite restaurant in the theme park, and that's Tiffin's.
Okay, let's talk Tiffin's.
But I gotta say, Tiffin's is just, oh gosh, in terms of a restaurant in a theme park, it's incredible. It has, first there's this beautiful thing called the Nomad Lounge, which is sort of this wraparound lounge around the restaurant. And it's in this peaceful, beautiful area. I went there twice, both sat indoors and outdoors, and spent about 2 hours each time, because it was just the best place to chill out. And I kept saying, oh, I'll get up now. And no, I'll have another iced tea. It was just so lovely. You just feel like you're at this very, I don't know, exclusive game hotel in Africa, and the service is impeccable, and it's so quiet and beautiful and peaceful, both indoors and outdoors. I hear the food's very good there too. I didn't eat anything there, but I'm sure it is. And they have lots of those wonderful, crazy, Disney cocktails. But very nice place to chill out and relax. Then the restaurant itself is so beautiful. It has all these photographs and sketches and things from the building of Animal Kingdom and models. And oh gosh, it's just an extraordinarily designed restaurant. Again, very quiet, not that many tables. You really have a very private experience. And lunch there was extraordinary. So good. 2 credits, but worth it, I think. Did you have a good time there?
I've eaten twice there, and I think I had poor service on the last visit that kind of didn't float my boat. It really did disappoint me a little bit, but the food itself, if you're an adventurous diner, this is the place where you want to be. If you don't know what sriracha is, this possibly is a place that you don't want to go to.
No, that's true. I mean, they do have, a lot of things that you've heard of, but just with wonderful spins on them. I had that incredibly good beef loin, tenderloin, the Wagyu beef loin, and then it also has the brisket that they've done sort of this coffee rub with, and oh my gosh, it's good.
Yeah.
And baby carrots and all sorts of stuff. It's lovely.
But even things like the chicken, they've got a really good chicken dish on the menu, which is a pomegranate lacquered chicken with sweet potato polenta, Brussels sprouts, and citrus fennel salad. So even if you just want to go and order chicken, if you're not adventurous, you will struggle. Even on the children's menu, you have got your grilled chicken and your sustainable fish, your grilled beef and your pasta marinara, but it's all done with this wonderful emphasis on flavours and textures and really tantalising the palate. And I think this place is one definitely to try and enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, especially if you do like to fine dining, and if you want to experience that in a theme park, which is so unexpected. It's also got a great location. It's right by Pandora, and so it's very nice to do a late lunch, which is what I did. It was twilight time, and you could go enjoy the luminescence of Pandora after, which was very nice. The other restaurant I'd love to try, I did go to Tusker House, which is very nice, the buffet, but I'd love to go to Yak and Yeti. I just couldn't get a reservation, but I hear that's really good too.
Oh, well, maybe that's one for next time.
Oh, it's on my list. But the service, that's a shame, because I had a absolutely wonderful server, and it did make a difference because she told me so much about the restaurant, and was just very attentive and really went into detail about the menu and everything and helped. So, it does make a difference.
Okay, well, let's go to the last theme park restaurant that you went to, and this is over at Epcot, and this is Le Cellier.
Yes, and I'll talk about this one briefly too. Le Cellier, has a huge reputation. That was one that was really talked about a lot. Mm-hmm. I did hear that it had slightly come down in quality. I was a little nonplussed with Le Cellier for a bunch of reasons. First of all, I didn't think that the restaurant itself was incredibly pleasant. It was very noisy. The tables were really crowded together, and the being down in a cellar atmosphere did not do much for me. Especially for a 2-credit deluxe restaurant, you kind of expect a little bit more, I don't know, privacy.
I'm in agreement. I felt like I was sat on the lady's next to me's knee.
Yeah, that's not great. And I had a nice server. She was very sweet, but I found the food, I guess I wasn't crazy about the food. I didn't have the world-famous filet mignon with risotto. I know I should have. I probably should have. I had a very, very good chicken dish that was really delicious and interesting, but it was too much of it. And it was a little daunting. I wasn't crazy. It was the only place that I didn't like because I had many of the wonderful cheese boards, which I think is a great appetizer, and so many of the different ones at different places are so unusual, and the accompaniments are so great. This one I felt was kind of just a little leaden and heavy-handed and not very good, and I left most of it, which I didn't do with almost anything. The maple creme brulee was nice, but, nothing to write home about. If I'd paid regular prices, the prices there are outrageous. They're expensive at California Grill, but the difference is that is an unforgettable meal that I think you'd order anything on that menu and it'd be worth it. This I thought was kind of prosaic for that price.
Yeah.
So I can't give a really strong vote to Le Cellier, and I'm glad I went. I'm glad I experienced it, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
Well, let's go to Gico.
Gico. Well, Gico is, I think, a perfect restaurant. Similar in its perfection to California Grill, although the atmosphere is so different. It's beautiful. It is romantic. It's a very romantic restaurant. I was with myself, and I felt like I was having a good date. So there you go. The way it's arranged on all these different levels is so beautiful. The tables are very well spaced. There's these big windows looking out on greenery and water. And this is at the beautiful, incredibly beautiful Animal Kingdom Lodge. What a great hotel it looks like. And then there's these flights of very stylized birds that are coming down from the ceiling across the ceiling. And it's just beautiful. It just gives this sense of movement. The food I found was extraordinary. I had one of the best cheese boards there with all these different wonderful accompaniments on this piece of like lava rock. It was so beautiful. The bread service was beautiful. I had a lamb shank with potato puree and pomegranate fig chutney. Oh my God. That was the best piece of lamb I've had in a long time. It was huge. It looked like the Flintstones. It was just like this gigantic. But it was so delicious. And then this really lovely artistic dessert that was, a bird's nest of shredded pastry and a stylized bird cookie and then a creamy sort of a pudding. It was just lovely. I mean, it was so lovely. Gico was the place that I had the most extraordinary experience with a server, and I got to tell you this real quick. So I had this, and the woman who just took me to my table, she wasn't my waitress, she wasn't the hostess, she was just the lovely person who takes you to your table. So not looking for a tip, not looking for any extra attention. She told me the whole story of the restaurant, that Gico means the cooking place. She pointed out the kitchen, explained about the birds, that in her country, that if you walk under a flight of birds in flight, it means that the rest of your life will be blessed with happiness, which is lovely. And even though she says that to everybody, she said it as though she had never said it to anybody. And she told me she had just caught in there from, I believe Nigeria was her country, if I remember correctly, and that she had just arrived like 2 months ago. So she was very new. And she saw my buttons, my birthday and first visit and celebrate life button, which is what they gave me for the cancer survivor. And she really congratulated me and wanted to know what the celebrate life meant. And I told her. And she was so struck. It was like, I don't know. She had this deeply emotional reaction. And she said that she was just such an honor to meet me and all that. And it was really sweet. So I was really touched. And then she came back a little bit more into my meal to say that it meant so much to her to meet me that day. And that, I know, it was the only time I choked up in the trip, and it's hard to even tell the story, really, because she was so sincere. She was this just beautiful young woman and very soulful. And she said it meant so much that I was a survivor and that I was here, and that made her day so much better. That was nice, and you would think that would be it, but no, she came back a third time. And this time she said that she really wished me well and wanted me to enjoy my trip. And she gave me a small card that had, just from the restaurant about, we're happy you're here to celebrate with us. And it had a Mickey sticker and all that. But inside, she had gone and had her friends in the kitchen and in the back write to me. And they all... it was about 7 or 8 messages that they wrote to me about good health and all of these things, but they wrote them in their languages.
Oh, that's amazing.
And just put underneath them, what country they were from. I was really kind of overcome because of the generosity and the kindness and the thoughtfulness of this gesture, which had nothing to do with getting a tip. It had nothing to do with my food. It had nothing to do with anything but this person's understanding and support. And that's not what you generally get when you just go to a restaurant.
No, that's the Disney difference.
It was, and I think she did it without even thinking about it being the Disney difference. I don't think that came into her head so much.
Oh, that's a wonderful story.
So, yeah, it was beautiful. And that combined with an impeccable dinner. And my server was also wonderful. And the atmosphere there. I cannot think of a better restaurant in the park. You know, it and California Grill are neck and neck. And a very different experience. But all the food there at the lodge is quite wonderful. And Boma was also just the best of the buffets I went to. It's really extraordinary. And I hear I'm going next time that Sana is really wonderful.
It is. It's a nice place to go and eat, yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, at lunchtime, right? So you can see the animals.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's right on the savannah. That is a magical place. I think Animal Kingdom and that lodge are the two places that most struck me as being so unique and so not typical, not the typical Disney experience.
Can I take you over now to Artist Point at the Wilderness Lodge?
Yes, that's another one I can talk about quickly. First of all, it's an extremely beautiful restaurant. The murals and the tables and just the whole way it's designed is lovely. It goes back and forth in reviews. It seems to have had quite a strange sort of spotty time. They keep changing it. They keep working on it. I had a nice meal there. Better than nice. It was a very good meal. I don't know if it's my favorite. I don't know if it's worth 2 credits, but it was very good. Had a gorgeous, gorgeous salad with 4 different versions of pears in it that was really nice. I had a very nice main dish. The salmon was delicious. The cedar plank salmon was very good. And an exquisite dessert that was the dessert of the time. It was a bouche de Noël that was really beautifully presented, really extraordinary looking, and a nice free glass of champagne for my birthday, which is nice too. So it was good. I just can't say it was the best, but it was really good. I think it could be better, I suppose, but I guess that's what everybody says about it. It's certainly beautiful. I kind of wish it was even better because it is a lovely place to have dinner. But if you're not staying at the resort, I don't think it's worth the trip, though. Have you eaten there?
I haven't. I've only taken food from the lounge and eaten, bits off the menu. It did catch my eye, though, that it does have a particularly expensive butcher's cut of a 32-ounce aged bone-in ribeye for 2 at $119.
Oh, my God. I know, it's crazy. But, in all of these restaurants, that's the thing is, for some reason, when you get the dining plan, even though it still costs you a lot, it doesn't feel as expensive. If I was going and just eating at these places a la carte, oh my God, the prices are really, really outrageous. I mean, they are very, very high end. I will also say, though, that I go to a lot of restaurants. I eat in New York and London and everywhere, and I love going out. And I will say that I had some of the very best meals I've had in my recent memory. I mean, like 20 years in Disney World, which, I mean, that's unusual. I wasn't quite sure that was going to be the case. But some of these places were among the best meals I've ever had.
Wow. The cuisine, though, is something that Disney prides themselves at excelling. So this isn't a big surprise to me because having been a Disney World devotee for many years now, I know that the food is outstanding.
Yeah, I think they've really, and I talked to people and they said they'd really concentrated in the last 5 or 6 years in upping that quality so that it would become a foodie destination. And I think they've done that. I can't also not mention Citricos, which was a surprise over at the Grand Floridian. It's next door to Victoria and Albert's, basically. And I just had an exquisite meal there. Just wonderful. Another really knockout experience. It's a foodie destination. And as my next trip proves, I'm only going to spend like maybe 3 or 4 days in the parks, but I'm there for 7 days. And mostly I'm going to go back to the restaurants. So, there's some great places. And then in the medium range, there's some amazing places. I at Disney Springs, which is a lovely spot to just while away a few hours. Very pleasant. And
Absolutely. I'm going to challenge you, John, though. I think you need to go and eat at the boathouse when you next go. It's just outstanding.
really, okay, I'll add that to my list because I wasn't planning to, but I have room for one or two more. So you like the boathouse? Okay, I've heard it's really
I love
good.
the boathouse because the seafood selections that they have are second to none. The presentation, the service is impeccable. It really is.
Okay, well, I will put that on my list. I went to Homecoming and Frontera Cucina, which I enjoyed very much. Another great server, and Homecoming was delicious. Have you eaten there? I probably have, I would think.
Yes, have it. I'm like you. It's a holiday with lots of reservations for food.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's part of the whole experience. And the walking around and just being in the space, the spaces are so interesting and so beautiful. I loved Epcot, which was extraordinary. Although I did have one bad meal there. That was one of my bad meals. I thought Tutto Italia was like one step, maybe half a step up from the Olive Garden. It was a very, very uninteresting Italian meal, I thought. And it was the one place I had a not very good server.
Oh.
So that's not on my list. Although I had a very nice time at Chefs de France, which I enjoyed very much. That was very good. But just walking around Epcot was so fun. And I made the mistake the first day of thinking that I could walk the whole perimeter of the lake and then also walk over to Future World and go on Spaceship Earth. So by the time I reached the French pavilion and walked the perimeter, I felt like I was dead. It was like I drugged myself to that boat to go back to the hotel. I was really exhausted. I think maybe it's better to pace yourself and do half the showcase and not try to do it all in the same afternoon. I thought, it doesn't look like it's that long a walk.
Oh, dear.
And yeah, we want to see everything, and it's so much fun to go to all those shops and things. It's somewhere between cheesy and great, that whole thing. Oh.
I'm going to break you off there because there's one place that we've not discussed, and it's the one place that I'm so excited about going to, and that's the Flying Fish.
Oh, Flying Fish. That's another one of the best meals I've ever had. Flying Fish is, well, again, it's beautiful. It is so elegant inside. It's a little more crowded than some of the others, but it's still very nice. It has these beautiful glass sculpted fish that are literally flying across the ceiling, and it's incredibly beautiful. I had a super server there. That was another guy who'd been there for I think 15 to 20 years. He'd been there forever and really knew his job. And the food was extraordinary. Now, it gets kind of back and forth reviews. I know it has a new chef. I think he was there when I was there. One thing that is extraordinary there is the best shrimp cocktail I've ever had. It doesn't even deserve that name. It's more, I don't know, it's this huge, beautiful poached shrimp with this blood orange vinaigrette, and it's so beautifully presented. It was just an incredible appetizer. And then I'd urge you to get the sustainable fish of the day there because it was fantastic. That day it happened to be swordfish, and it was the most succulent, delicious piece of grilled swordfish with this assortment of baby vegetables that was just lovely. It was such a good entree and a very lovely dessert. It was called Under the Sea, and it's this sort of chocolate ganache with all these different powders and colored crystals and things. And that was really sweet for my birthday because he brought me a miniature version of the dessert with happy birthday written and a chocolate Mickey and all that candle. And then he brought me the full-size version. So I had a double version of it, which I thought was awfully sweet.
Absolutely. They sound like they've really looked after you.
Oh, they did. I've never celebrated my birthday more. I've rarely had that good a level of service in restaurants. It's really extraordinary. But yes, Flying Fish, you haven't been, you will love it. It is it's very simple but kind of exquisite, elegant cooking. It's not overly fancy. It's just kind of perfect. I would guess with what you were saying about the boathouse, it's somewhat similar to that. You'll really enjoy it. There were a lot of other wonderful things on the menu that I wanted to try, but he just said that this swordfish was particularly wonderful that night, and so I went with the recommendation, and it was. I also have to say I love with the dining plan that you get the free mug. That's a really nice little touch. You get this free mug, and if you go to 2 hotels during your stay, you get another one. So I ended up with 2. And they're refillable at your hotel. They all have places right there. And you can get you can just drink all you want of soda or iced tea, or they're also good for hot drinks, for hot chocolate or hot coffee. I got to say, every night coming back to my hotel and getting my drink and going to my room was very nice. It was another nice perk, considering that they charge you like $5.50 for a drink.
True.
Or a soda.
Well, all of these ways you can stick it to Disney and get the absolute most out of this dining plan.
Yes, I think the dining plan is, again, absolutely great if you are into it and if you're into food and if you plan ahead. Because, I talked to you, I planned this trip for a year, and I read every book and looked at every vlog, and all of that paid off because I was able to plan ahead. I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go. And I never for once felt, I'm confused, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I don't know where to go, or, it makes a difference because it's a bit overwhelming when you get there, especially on a first visit, It's quite the place.
Absolutely is. And it can be quite overwhelming as well.
It is. I mean, everything about it. It's so huge, and it's so, there's so much to see, and your eye is just constantly being stimulated. But there's also a lot of time to just relax if you pace yourself. Some of my favorite things was, like, I had an hour before my fast pass for the Frozen ride, so I just sat on a bench looking out over the lake at Epcot and saw the sunset, and that was gorgeous, and it gives you just a chance to breathe. So anytime you can do that, when you can find time to put those points in your day, then you'll enjoy your day so much more. I think that's an important tip to keep in mind.
Absolutely is. Well, John, I would just like to say a big, massive thank you for sharing your dining experiences with us. And I look forward to chatting with you later in the year about the next set of dining that you're going to include.
Absolutely. It's always so much fun to talk with you. And I'll just add as of my PS that thank God they brought back the citrus swirl. I can't believe they took it out, because that was one of the best things I had the whole trip over in Adventureland. Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I like Dole Whip, but citrus swirl for me was better. So there you go.
Where dreams begin. So that just about wraps up this week's show. I would just like to say a big, big thank you to everybody who's been giving us a little bit of love on social media, whether it's retweeting one of our tweets, that can be found on @DisDreamGirls, liking our Instagram posts @DisDreamGirls again, and also joining in with the fun that we're having on Facebook. Just a quick mention, Jamie Winters Morgan has got a fantastic DLP pin coming to her for having a go and winning the caption competition. I'll be posting some more, so keep your eyes peeled on our Facebook page, Disney Dream Girls. Join in the fun, and you never know what might come your way. If you've got a comment or query or question, why not get in touch with us? Email info@disneydreamgirls.com. Finally, if you'd like some more wonderful additional audio, a big thanks from us, why not support us financially? Visit us over at patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. You'll have our eternal thanks for anything you might want to throw our way. But until next week, it's goodbye from me.